Okay, welcome, great souls. Wonderful to share satsang together, spiritual practice. And just sitting comfortably in any way that feels to you. I'll just do a short intro of our theme today, which the question was how to step out of self-talk. So that's a wonderful question. As we know, the mind's doing a whole lot of that, right? It's going, and hopefully, well, sometimes it's gone, but we could come back. And I'll be weaving in practices. That's really the big part of the yoga practice, is to observe, witness, but not serve the mind. Okay, so you're observing it, and we're not serving just that chatter talk, that self-talk. Of course, we can use the mind and thought for manifestation, for prayer, for higher thinking. But I believe we're talking about just that residual background channel noise. So as we do in the practice of yoga, we use the positive affirmations. That's called the superconscious mind. That's the higher mind. That's what we want to utilize. There's conscious and then subconscious. So in our practice, like always, we'll be going into the superconscious mind with our affirmations. But the witnessing and awareness. So one of the teachers I study with, he just has a wonderful way of, he's like, when we're in presence, which is this kind of feeling, versus when we're in person, which is that kind of feeling, there's a difference. And of course we need ego in the person. That's a part of it. It's a very narrow part of it. We don't want it to be the full expression of who we are, because the truth of who we are is presence. And presence feels a lot different than that person going out there. Again, both are playing, but to what degree? So that's just a very basic overview of, we're going to look at when the self-talk comes in, because I pretty much could guarantee it will come in even when we're going to superconscious thinking, or that it's just in hovering in the background. But we can be compassionately aware, observe, but not serve it. Okay, so just by starting, I'm gonna have all your props ready to go here. Just starting with, now we do breath practices that are very helpful to focus the mind. But if you ask people, most people, to just have 3 to 5 minutes of not breath practice, just listening to the mind, that could be quite a wonderful practice, but quite an intense practice, because you start to see all the activity that goes on there. But what we want to do is return the deeper than that mind chatter is our innate peace, is our wholeness. And the mind chatter is going on so much that we may forget that. We may not have, but as we're doing yoga, we're returning to that. Every time we breathe, every time we practice, many different kinds of practices will help us return to our innate wholeness. Okay, so let's bring the shoulders up, down, and around. Luckily, we'll have some breathing conscious practices to help regulate our nervous system and be able to observe that mind chatter. Some people are just in it. They're not even aware that's happening. So let's do a short and then long inhale and tense the body. Inhale. Vibrate with energy, tense, 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 and then short, then long exhale. Softening. And let the breath just rise and fall as it will, a few rounds here. One of the ways I'd like to personally have less of the mind chatters is just keep dropping into the heart, keep dropping into the heart. If you'd like, place your hand on your heart, place the other hand on the belly. We're going to do a 4-4-4 equal breath. So inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 4. First, we're just going to exhale through the mouth. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath. Focus at the spiritual eye. 3, 4. Exhale through the nose or the mouth. 3, 4. Let's do several more. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath. Focus at the spiritual eye. 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. 2 more rounds. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath. 2, 3, 4. Exhale through the nose or the mouth. 3, 4. One more round. You counting. Let me feel belly heart connection. When we're at the spiritual eye, right there, we're going higher. We're going into our super consciousness, our higher consciousness. Already, we're making that shift. As you breathe, setting the intention for what you'd like to receive from the class. Working on observing the mind with compassion. Versus serving it in ways we don't want to, in that looping way. There's ways we can utilize it for sure for creation. All right, breath of joy. So keeping with that heart center, bringing the hands into namaste. Exhale, rounding the spine, tucking the chin to the hollow at the throat, and then sweeping the arms up. The slight bend of the elbows, but the upliftment of energy as you exhale and feel that space all around you. Reach behind, interlock if you can, or hands by your side. Heart lifts. Opening, recharging, and then exhale around its spine. And then bringing the hands into Eagle Heart Mudra and just do that 4-4 count again. Just keep returning to breath practice. Bring us back to this moment, knowing that there's peace at the depth of ourselves and true self. And we'll go ahead and bring the arms out to the side, walking, especially that left arm out, right arm reaches up, stretching. We're going to bend the left elbow, stretch through the side body, opening up. Make sure this left shoulder doesn't jack up by the ear. Opening up to our solar energy. That got us to the class today. Inhale, coming back up. The person's used to doing all the lists and checking it off, which does feel like accomplishment. We need that. But we also want to open to the spaciousness of life that isn't on the list, the unexpected mysteries, the simple things. Stretching through, drawing that right shoulder away from the ear, stretching through the left side. Just notice the difference on each side. I'm feeling quite a bit of difference today between my left and right side, more so than usual. Notice what you feel. Inhale, stretching back up. Interlocking again, opening the heart, recharging. And exhale back to Eagle Heart Mudra. Back to that recentering, coming back home, coming back to your true home. You know, the mind, of course, is meant to analyze, process, it does judge, but like a computer, we want it to be able to shut down, not be on all the time. Okay. So the breath work, heart-centered practices, and I love, and the Raja Yoga, chanting. Yogananda says, Paramahansa Yogananda says, it's half the battle. I love to have chanting going on internally or externally with music, and that is incredibly helpful practice to keep us in that higher vibration. So we're going to do our cat kicks with a little bit different activation of the abs. This works for your body. So like we start out with the wrists underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Now you'll feel your core engage much more by pressing. I'm pressing into the tops of the feet and I'm lifting off of the knees. Trying to have the spine neutral. 3 breaths. Definitely going to activate the core much more. That's it. And then lower down. Okay, you can always add that if you want more core strength. And then bringing in that right knee into the left knee, I'm sorry, into the center line. The right knee comes toward the forehead. It doesn't touch. And then we're extending and kicking out. So we can add that push-up. And then pulse in. So rounded spine. Just keep tuning into the breath. If you're noticing particular negative self-talk, there's regular self-talk and there's negative self-talk. We want to be aware of it. We want to recognize it. We want to name it. And then maybe to tame it, we want to kick it out. There's something really coming in there in psychology. We'll work with it. We'll work through it. We're not bypassing. Certain things need to be felt and seen and move through. And we'll do that at the practice at the end. There's Shavasana. And you can just tell your mind that too, that we'll deal with it. It's a practice for worry, that you give it 15 minutes a day. And you'll deal with it. Okay. The knees come down and we circle before we go to the other side. Of course, just warming up, seeing what's happening today in your body. Remember which side you're swirling to. We're going to go to the opposite before we go to the other side. Tops of the feet touch. Lift off the knees. 3 to 5 breaths here. The core will be activating, much more so. And lower when ready. Okay. Right knee comes into center line. Left knee toward the forehead. Cat kick. Stretch out. And add the push-up. Elbows in. Round. Hear the sound. Feel the extension. Get into sensations in the body. Bring you into this moment. Feel the pulse, feel the rhythm, feel the movement. And appreciating what the body can do. And lowering that knee down and swirling with the hips to the other side. Within every breath lies infinite power. And we can make that work for us. The power to return back to wholeness. Back to the practice of returning to peace, the qualities of the divine. Peace, calmness, I'll weave through them as we come into our down dog. So we're going to lift off the knees, okay? Take our time to pour back into the heels if you can. Keep pressing through the base of the fingers. And you can do that
Side to side swivel or cross diagonal stretch, full body stretch. Calmness, peace, both qualities of the divine radiate through every cell of my body, every fiber of my being. So there's a distinction of calmness, and that's the first stage, and then peace is a deeper stage that we really try to rest in our innate wholeness. So calmness, peace radiate through every cell of my body, every fiber of my being. Okay. And we step one foot forward, then the other, one hand, then the other, walking, walking, walking. Soften the knees, rest the palms at the hollows of the elbows, shifting or stabilizing. But we're rooting down into the earth. We're getting that grounding through the feet. And again, that shaking out. If you want to massage the back of the neck where the ego lodges, again, we need it, but it's narrow. We want a much more expanded wholeness, relaxing any unnecessary burdens, things we can't control. This is a practice of letting go, so important. Woo, we can make sound. And heart lifts, arms reach back, sweeping up, strengthen our chair pose, pulsing. If you want to sweep the arms back, you can, it's more dynamic. And then sweeping up again. Reaching up, lengthening and growing. And then coming into our mountain pose. I'm just going to grab a sip of water here. Make sure we hydrate. Put it over here. All right. So again, moment in our mountain. Rooting again. And then the rising. Feel that energy rising, lifting from the heart, moving, not getting stuck at the ego, but moving through the center of the brain to the spiritual eye, out in front of you. But it helps to have that bullseye point out in front of you. And then there's a soft inward gaze at that point. That's the light of the spiritual eye. That is super consciousness and the crown expanding to the sky. So we're tuning in to the super conscious energy, not getting stuck in the subconscious, conscious states, or it's repetitive thinking. And we're bringing others. And that's also another karma yoga. Remember, there's yoga is definitely dealing with this aspect of stepping out of the mind by serving others, by the ways we do that, and now bringing others to our mat with us, visualizing them, anyone you know that's in need of a that light, the dawning of higher consciousness within your soul, and inviting that opening to other souls, a light of higher awareness. We're going to go through our vinyasa flow with variation. If you do have a light weight by your side, I'm going to bring that over now. It's not necessary, but one of the students wanted to use that. Tapping into the spiritual eye. Stepping into the crown, lengthen and grow, add your back bend. Inhale back to center, and swan dive forward, hinging forward. Tapping into a forward fold, shaking out the overthinking, and bending the knee. We're going to step the right foot back,
30 degrees. And we're going to lift. If you want to take the weight, we're going to rise up, or your hands are reaching up. Track that knee over the ankle. And the affirmation, the classic affirmation we'll do once: I attune my will to the source of all power. Then we're going to add, you can always add, I am free, I am free. Blessed Spirit, I am free. So that's a affirmation and a chant. You could take a part of the chant and use it as an affirmation in my higher self and my wholeness, which is I am free. So pulsing and affirming the freedom of the soul. We are not only our minds, okay? We're much more vast. I am free, I am free. Now we're going to reach up and we're going to place, if you have the weight, place it down and rotate off of that back heel. Come on to the top of the right knee. Shimmy, shake the hips open more deeply. Affirming that freedom of the soul that can observe the mind. It's quite possible. And we're going to then take this into our flow. So the back toe turns out under and the knee, right knee comes off the ground. We step it back to plank. Create that strong line of energy. We're gonna roll forward, roll back, stay here a little bit longer. One forearm down, forearm plank, and the other. Tops of the thighs touch. Unfurl the toes into Sphinx pose. Rocking gently side to side, hydrating the joints. Love that. If you want deeper hydration, the fingertips turn in and we can make that figure 8 with the shoulders. Come into various locusts before we come into our cobra. Okay, recharging the spine. Lift the upper body. Remember, imagine that block between the thighs, protecting the low back. Maybe lift the legs. Arms out to the side, super person pose. Exhale, come forward. Exhale, rest. Stacking the hands, large toes touch. Rest at the spiritual eye, melting into the earth. Melting the back of the heart toward the front of the heart. Create a lot of space in the heart center. That grace of space, allowing various feelings to flush, to be here, to circulate. And then we're going to rise up, open to our wings of joy in the shoulders, expanding so the hands are underneath the shoulders. You can come on top of the knees in Bhujangasana or lift off the knees, rising up to greet this day. Lift off and stick out the tongue. Lengthen through the crown. And again. Excellent. And let's touch the knees down before we pour back. We're going to add that movement. I'm going to come onto the blanket for it. Protecting my knees, lifting the knees off. Come in, tops of the feet, 3 breaths. Then we got to touch down again to transition. Toes turn under, hover again. Couple breaths. And pour back. Pour back. Let's tread it out. Press more weight through the right hand, left foot. Right knee bends. And you'll know when it's time to shift.
to the other side. Calmness. You can choose the quality. Peace. Radiate through every cell of my body, every fiber of my being. Calmness, peace, light, quality of the divine energy, joy, right use of power, sound. Hear the sound of the breath. We all have all these aspects we could tune into. Step out of the habitual thinking mind. Okay, bend the knees. And let's rest and shake out any excess overthinking, any overburdens we can't control. Do what we can, and we don't take action. Let's not have the action be overactive in the mind all the time. Takes away our freedom. And bend the knees, sweep it back, and chair pose, pulse it up. Exhale, slice through things we can't control, that residual. We can tune into higher consciousness. Inhale, lengthening up, pulsing up, and feel light pouring through all the cells of the body, every fiber of your being, every cell of your body. Add the mudra. Thumb, index finger together. Okay, we'll come to the front of our mat. Again, take a moment here. Bring those souls that you're sending healing energy to, bring them along with you on the mat for their highest goods. And we're uplifting that consciousness versus the worry consciousness. We're wishing the best for these souls. That's a way to uplift your consciousness and their consciousness. Tapping into the spiritual eye. Knowing that within every breath lies infinite power. As we arc it back, within every breath lies infinite power. And we're going to swan dive forward. Tapping into our forward fold. Inhale, elongate. Bring the hands to the shins. Elongate the spine. Exhale, bend the knees. Step the left foot back into Virabhadrasana 1. Use the weight, optional this time, or anytime. Okay, track that knee over the second toe. Rise up with the arms upward, either way with the weight or without it. Now I'm going to move it this way. Okay, so our classic affirmation, I attune my will to the source of all power. The deeper we keep our legs in that line, the more we'll feel it. Then we're adding, I am free, I am free. In my consciousness and spirit, I am free. So just know you could be listening to a chant like that in the background. Another famous one is door of my heart, open wide, I keep for thee. Door of my heart, open wide, I keep for thee. So many chants to choose from, or music. Notice and make a playlist for yourself. I am free, I am free. Now we're going to come forward, set the weight down. Come on top of that left knee, really open up the hip flexor, rocking side to side. So taking parts of the chant, or taking parts of music that are uplifting for you. And when you're hearing the music, of course, all those sounds we know represent the different chakras, each have a sound. Opening our chakras. And that lotus petal variation, very good. Okay, the back toes turn under, and we're stepping that right foot back. Coming forward into our plank, meaning coming forward through the heels, and then the balls of the feet. Just going forward and back a few times, increasing our strength and flexibility as we bring one forearm down, then the other. And we're going to soar upward in our wings of joy and our shoulders. So we're taking a moment in Sphinx, but then moving into our Bhujangasana, our Cobra pose, soaring upward on wings of joy. Add the lion's breath. Having the planning somewhat of the day, but open to the mystery as well. Opening to the unplanned. And you know, the mind is like, what? The heart and soul is like, yes, yes. And coming back onto the knees. Let's do a rounded cat first to do an opposite. Neutral spine. Pose of the day, lift off. Different. And adding this to your practice. 3 breaths. Excellent. Knees touch down, toes turn under, back to hovering again. Our full body stretch in front, downward facing dog. A wonderful inversion, cleansing the mind. That's another great thing to do with too much self-talk, or that habitual is like, do a forward fold, shake it out. Really feel that blood flow to the brain. Let's do 10 Kapalabhati fire breaths. Exhale through the nose, draw the navel to the spine. Slow it down. Some heat to the overthinking mind or the too much self-talk. Getting that fire going. And sweeping back. Rising up. Okay, as we rise up, coming back to our mountain pose. So we feel the space all around us. Eventually we'll get to mountain. Let's just circle of light. Auric field. Cleansing it. And then we work down, rise up. See where the hands want to be. Make sure we have that gentle focus of the spiritual eye. Alright, it puts us into super consciousness. Upward gaze, that upward inner gaze. So having these moments that we know we can tune into the breath and drop deeper to the natural presence. Remember, presence, being. This is our true state. The yogis and masters tell us, yes, the person goes out into the world, but we can, or just the person goes out, period. It doesn't even have to go out to the world. And then we can, okay, bring it back. So this is our natural state. Getting used to it more and more. Okay, let's go. Keep flowing. So the yoga is so wonderful and all the Raja Yoga, the different dimensions. We're doing hatha breath practices, movement practices, but it translates
into, off of the mat as well. Okay, so we're going wide with the feet. We're gonna come into goddess pose, bending the knees, pulsing. And then we're going to bring our breath of joy into the squat, into the goddess pose. So see what happens here, tailbone down. Exhale. We're not rounding the spine hardly at all. It's more uplifted in this pose. And then I'm reaching up. And then feeling the space all around as we add that twist. We're going to look over the right shoulder, extending that left elbow. Deep exhales, feel the navel to the spine on the exhale. 3 times, coming back to center, pulsing. Breath of joy before we go the other side. Upright spine, not rounded. Lengthen and feel the space as we twist. Bending the left elbow, extending the right arm. Really concentrate on that exhale, navel to the spine. Belly naturally expands on the inhale. The center, door of my heart, open wide, I keep for thee. Okay. Or whatever that is to you, nature, it's not a deity, a practice like that, whatever brings you that heart opening feeling. Let's take it into Trikonasana. The left toes out, arms extend, heart opens, reaching up, trying to keep that space going. I forgot my block, but if you have a block, I see it right there. Just have it by your front or back of the shin here. Lightweight with the hand on the block or the shin. Add the mudra, individual self, uniting with the infinite, infinite pouring through. Have to be open and ask that infinite to pour through. And 2 other qualities of spirit, energy and joy. Fill my body cells. So we're inviting energy and joy. Fill my body cells. So as we're affirming our higher consciousness with our affirmations, energy and joy, fill my body cells. You can sing that throughout the day, or you can break out into a triangle. Nice. All right, adding. When we come up, so I'm going to wrap this arm around behind. I'm going to bend the left knee. And we're going to dance our warrior 2. So I'm going to step my back foot back. You decide what you need here. Arm reaches up and then around. You may or may not be able to do the clasp. That's okay. Got to ask you to bring a strap. That could be helpful. So we're in our Virabhadrasana 2. Rooting down. I'm joyfully I'm a manifestation of the power of the divine. We're all individual manifestations of the power of the divine. We're reminding ourselves of our higher truth. So our higher mind can help our, whatever you want to call it, the habituated thinking mind. All right, let's ease out and let's take rest before we go to the other side. So you can use a strap, or if you can interlock, large toes are in, heels are apart, hinging forward. Big exhale here. Knuckles up to the sky, crown of the head towards the earth. Coming to me again, that chant, I am free, I am free. Blessed Spirit, I am free. Soften the knees, come up. If
it is maybe a leap for your mind to, well, no, I'm not free. What do you mean? I all this habitual thought going on. And so you could craft that to work for you. So I'm working on returning to my innate freedom. So make it work for you. If it's too big of a stretch to do the highest affirmation, the super conscious affirmation, make it work for your body. Do the psychological practices of releasing the gunk out, and there went many ways to do that. Just be honest with yourself where you're at. Okay, as we're aspiring higher. Right. Oh, here we go.
Block this time.
Opening up and stretching the side body. Adding mudra, thumb, index finger, extending over. Opening, opening, opening to energy and joy. Fill my body cells. We want to ask, we want to open. Energy and joy. Fill my body cells. And if we want to extend into Utthita or stay in this pose with the arm up, see what works for you. Getting the physical tensions out as much as possible, emotional, psychological tensions, and returning to spirit wholeness. That's here, that's whole, that's free, but yet it's quiet. Or we can tune into nature, it's not so quiet. Bend the knee, and we're going to dance our warrior up. If you can wrap this arm around any way you can, at the strap here or the interlock, root down. And the absolute truth is that we each, our soul remembers that we are this divine manifestation of spirit in our individual form. Divine manifestation of spirit. Pulsing into it. It's meant to be strong. It is a battle. That's the Bhagavad Gita. Light and dark forces, but the light wins. Inhale, coming up. And it is scary when it feels like the darkness is winning, but that's temporary. The light always wins. Open into star. Bring the hands and the feet together into mountain or mudra, eagle heart mudra. Let's do a balance pose here. Taking our block. Garandasana, eagle pose. Sweeping the arms open. And those wings of joy, interlocking. If you can, I'm bringing the right elbow underneath the left. You can go like this. Oh, let's put this on this side. Okay, let's look at a point on the floor first. Bending the knees, and you can tap. You can put your foot to the side or the foot on the block. Wrapping you can do a full wrap with the legs. Lift the tips of the elbows. Amidst life storms, I find my center. Or modifying amid life storms, I can come back to my center at some point. Just keep affirming the deeper truth in our practices. Amidst life storms, I find my center. So that when in life, we know we hit inevitables of people, circumstances, events that are challenging. What we have to practice is to come back to our center. And if we need a little bit more, which we often do, support different groups, people, friends, it's like counseling, definitely get that support. We're here for each other.
You'll hear that mantra a lot now coming out of COVID, stronger together, stronger together. And that's where we come back in our satsang, stronger together. Beautiful to do the practices on your own pace and timing alone, but also wonderful to come together. All right, let's go Garandasana to the other side. Wings of joy expanding. Left elbow underneath the right. Again, you can just take a little root down through the right foot, take a little lift off. It can be like this, okay? Classic eagle is a full wrap. We can do a partial wrap. Looking at a point in front of you. It's actually harder to, on this side, to try to rest on that block. I'm gonna come down here. Keep lifting through the tips of the elbows as high as you can. Amidst life storms, I can come back to my center. Amidst life storms, I may be in my center as I'm facing life storms. Breathing in, breathing out. When it's time to come out, feel free. Always listen to your body. Circle around. And as we're standing here, why not? Let's go into our half moon. Inhale, clasping the left wrist, tailbone down, arcing over to the right. Strength and courage fill my body cells. Strength and courage fill my body cells. Inhale back to center. Before we go to the other side, let's take a pause. Symbolic of what we want to do throughout our day, off the mat. Strength and courage to come back to our center. Their center. There's a peace, calmness, light, love, strength, courage. Right use of power. It's the courage to return. Dropping into the heart. That's really not mine. Many people follow that practice, but it really works to drop into the heart. Too much self-talk in that way that's just looping. It's not helpful. All right, inhale, let's go to the other side. Clasping the right wrist, arcing over to the left. Tailbone down. Eye gaze up. Ventilating the ribs. Strength and courage fill my body cells. When it's time to come out, we lengthen and grow. And again, the theme of this class, but really all classes, we just have different focuses of returning back to the heart, belly, the breath. And the mind can actually relax. Or we don't want the computer turned on all the time. It's great when we need it. But like that going all the time. We can just breathe and be. The more we do this, the more our soul is, thank you. There's a memory, smriti, a deep memory of this natural peace and ease. That's very different than cognitive self-talk. Okay, let's come down to the earth. We did our balance practice. Oh yeah, we're going to
We'll just come into a chair squat. Okay. And we're going to take it into Janu Shirshasana. So the left leg extends, the right knee bends. We're rooting down through the sit bones and we're adding that twist. We're bringing our left hand to our right knee, twisting from the core. And just feel that expansion of the heart, chin parallel. And the affirmation is a higher affirmation, like all of them are, left and right, and all around me. Life's harmonies are mine. We're tuning into the harmony of life. We could easily talk about the disharmony of life, but let's tune in to the harmony of life, left and right and all around. Life's harmonies are mine. Maybe you're seeing some trees out there. I'm seeing the light coming through the sky. And then we come back. And we are going to bring that left foot in front of the right and just take a moment, just like we're standing, but we're seated, of course. You want to go to belly heart, the 4, 4, 4, inhale, 2, 3, 4, gentle focus at the spiritual eye, get used to that upliftment. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just do some 4, 4, 4 breathing throughout the day, and then the tuning in and returning. That would be very helpful to step out of overthinking mind. Okay, here we go with the right leg. I'm going to move my cheeks, so I'm rooting down through the sit bones. The left hand behind me, just feel that deep twist from the core, but spiraling up. Feel the toes back, lengthen and open through the crown. Feel that heart expansion. Janu Shirshasana. Left and right and all around me. Life's harmonies are mine. And slowly coming back, not denying the challenges of life. Right before this class, just our neighbor, fire, police, ambulance, she's taken out into the ambulance, but I'm sending her healing, I'm sending her harmony, I'm sending her health. Yes, that's disruptive. It's not where anybody wants to be, but thankfully there's people that showed up and can help her. So this is just showing that, it's not denying life's processes, but we can first feel it, of course, and send whatever energy one can, and then possibly take action, visiting my neighbor later, letting her know whatever she needs, that kind of stuff. We know that we're not just disqualifying the challenges of life, but we're at some point going high, sending healing vibrations, ideally, to the challenges. The left and right, and like I said, amidst the challenges, just like our ego pose, the disharmonies, we're tuning in to the harmony of life. We're recognizing that, and we're sending that to others in need when the challenges arise, and when it arises within yourself, of course. Okay, let's come back onto the ground and ease our back. Do our bridge pose. So we're gonna, if you want to use a blanket, you can use a blanket for bridging. Make sure that the edge of your shoulders, your head is off the edge of the blanket, in other words.
So we're gonna tuck the tailbone down and shimmy shake down. Back of the head, off the edge here. Knees to the shoulders wide, ironing out the back body. Thank you, body. And thank you that we can be aware of what channel our mind is on. That's a big one. So that awareness could serve us and bring us back into the breath, back into our hearts, back into what is needed in this moment. Moment to moment awareness. So plugging in the feet, large toes turned in. Okay. And arms down by our side to start. You could also put a block between your thighs to keep those thighs engaged, magnetizing toward one another. And we're going to lift the hips gradually up. Rock the shoulders underneath. For some of us, we'll interlock. For others, we'll keep the arms by our side. But knowing that every thought, that's what we've been talking about a lot today. Every thought can be a bridge back to my true self. We can use the thoughts to bridge us back to our soul, our true self, presence, whatever you call that, yourself, many names. But it's a felt experience. Have that divine power to return, because that's our baseline. Exhale, melting down, release the hands, release the upper, mid, low back. And let's go ahead and finish off here with a real simple twist. Bending the right knee. And placing it, well, I'm changing my mind. I'm going to go to the Supta Padangusthasana a little deeper. If you want to extend that left leg, plant that right foot down, swivel, and bringing our left hand to the right knee, pulsing back and forth, hydrating, back and forth, knee and shoulder, knee and shoulder. I'm extending my leg into the ocean. The left toes are turning up, core engaged, and sweeping the right arm overhead. One of my all-time favorites, affirmations: divine life is within me and all around me. Divine life is within me and all around me. Hear that oceanic sound, visualize water if that works for you, ocean. And bending the knees, that right knee if it's time to adjust. Folding the right knee in. And extending that right leg out. Just take again, these pauses in between. The pose is symbolic of pauses as we go throughout our daily life. See what you need in your medicine chest. If you need more calming, lengthen the exhale. Need more energy, lengthen the inhale. More balance, equal 4-4-4. Keep it simple. Okay. Draw the inner borders of the feet together. The left knee draws in. Plant the left foot down and swivel
The hips to the left as that knee comes across with the right hand pulsing back and forth. Knee and shoulder, left knee, left shoulder, head's going along, releasing the neck as well. And then maybe extending, maybe not, it's your choice. Toes of the right foot drawing up to the sky, and then draw that left hip away. A little bit more, and sweeping the left arm up and around as the head goes along. Divine light is within me and all around me. Divine life is within me and all around me. Awakening deeper and deeper. This divine life is always here, but we're letting our self-talk thoughts and person know that there's a doorway back to something that's much deeper and soul fulfilling. And there's that memory our soul knows, the soul remembers. And we've been here long enough to know the practices that can help you. And of course, additional practice, sometimes different anyways that work for you. As we adjust onto our spine, divine life is within me and all around me. And descending that left leg down, melting, melting, melting into the support of the earth. Conscious, full yogic breath. When in doubt, just slow down the inhale, slow down the exhale. Gentle focus at the spiritual eye or heart or crown. The upper chakras are, all the chakras are working for us, but especially when we want to return to super consciousness, higher consciousness. Changing that channel. Know where to go. And sensing and feeling what would feel the best for you. I'm just possibly maybe doing a butterfly with that double block if you're wanting a deep heart opener, or it could be regular legs. Let me show you in mind what this looks like. Classic Shavasana with the bolster, or if you want that deeper heart expansion. When you're feeling this, you're needing that extra openness and amongst the safety and support of the group. Replacing that one block right up between the scapula and the other block at the back of the head. So this is a very powerful opening. If that's too much, you know the variations of regular bolster, perhaps. Legs up the wall. But main thing is to get yourself cozy and comfortable as we go into. It's a Shavasana practice, but I'm gonna add on a little bit. And I'll describe what I'm doing here shortly. Just remember, our true self or our being is not governed by the mind. It's deeper. So, because we've talked a lot about the mind and how to return to soul, there's another piece that drink our emotional body. And we know it gets it can have a bad feeling. It could have negativity going on there. So what I want to guide you through is a Shavasana, but also how to just be with that feeling. Okay. It's a lot about allowing. This is not new to regular students, but I just want to offer this practice of acceptance, relaxing, and releasing.
So acceptance, relaxing, and releasing. So getting yourself into a comfortable state. I'm going to record this. And starting from the crown, imagine light just pouring in through the crown of the head, softening where we can, softening the forehead, the eyes, the eyebrows, the muscles and nerves around the eyes. And let's begin that softening. The releasing and the relaxing. And the jaw, maybe exaggerating a yawn, relaxing the jaw. And as we learn how to be with perhaps a wave of a difficult feeling, it could come from a lot of places, from others, or from a quality within yourself that we wish we didn't have, but it's here. And we usually try to deny or squelch or defend or justify it. But instead, we're going to allow it. So we're going to soften the shoulders. Feel that radiant sensation pouring down through the arms, a pulsation in the hands and fingers. And you may not be going through a difficult feeling, and that's beautiful. Continue with the breath, continue with body sensing. But if you are, first stage is just, where do I feel that feeling in my body, or that more difficult feeling? Common places are belly, heart, chest, throat, shoulders, back, head. Just notice where it is for you. I'm going to invite you to breathe into it. If there's not a hard feeling coming up, just breathe into the spaciousness of the heart, the floor, the ceiling, the sidewalls of the chest. And actually inwardly talk to that feeling that I allow it and I accept you. I'm accepting this feeling. I'm trying to relax into it through the grace of space. No, it may not be easy. You may be here for a long time, but we're opening. Imagine that feeling, that difficult feeling, like an ice cube. So it starts out pretty hard and rough around the edges. But then we're allowing this ice cube to soften. And we're offering it upward to God. God is the divine, or that language doesn't work for you, warm sunshine in nature, pouring into this ice cube and starting to melt maybe into water. It starts to dissipate, start to evaporate some of that harshness, holding and tension. It's releasing. You just know you're bathed in that light of love to the best of your ability. You're accepting that light and that grace of space. into this difficult feeling. Breathing deeply into the belly, the low back. Feel that oscillation of the internal organs. Accepting, relaxing, and releasing to the best of your ability. You may come back. You may need several rounds of practice, but that's okay. So we continue to soften through the cheeks, thighs, the knees, calves, ankles, soles of the feet, digits of the toes, left and right. Again and again, that spacious awareness. Or keep returning to what's already whole, already free, already aware. Remembering our divine nature. And now bypassing those thinking or self-talk, but we observe it. Same with the feelings. We observe it. And then we'll return. We learn to rest. Learn to rest in this grace of space more and more. Because this is a divine memory of truth. Not suppressing, we're moving through. And if it's time for you to return to movement, you could do so gradually. You can also feel free, of course, just linger longer in this deep rest, conscious rest. Turning again and again, simple aware presence. And we're also, again, bringing others to our mat and visualizing them at the spiritual eye. And we're going to send could be the world, could be the community, specific people, animals, pets, etc. Just visualize them. And we'll send 3 poems 3 times. I'm going to rub the hands together to generate heat. You feel whatever is right for you to send this energy to others. Just feel the inhale. Ah. Ah. And bringing the hands together in namaste, acknowledging the divinity within you and recognizing that divinity within everyone and everything. As we bow to the wisdom of our heart, just letting the mind come back to the heart again and again and again to that channel. Letting it lead the way into the rest of your day. And I will stop the recording here.